Hi guys, this is Vineet and I welcome you to this video. Today's video topic is how you can disable indexes in SQL Server. Before we proceed ahead, I would request you guys to please go ahead and subscribe to this channel. There's a subscribe button below this video. Click on that subscribe button. It will give you a bell icon. Click on that bell icon. Select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future videos. The reason I'm telling you to subscribe is because I will be creating many more videos on indexes and I don't want you to miss on any of the videos related to indexing. So that's the reason I want you to subscribe to my channel so that you can get timely notifications regarding any new videos that I post on my channel. So please go ahead and subscribe right away. I'm giving you 5 seconds. Please go ahead. So alright guys, I hope you must have subscribed by now so we can proceed ahead. There are some points to remember while watching this video. Please watch this video till the end to gain better clarity of the concept. And if it's possible for you, please watch this video twice or as many times as you like until the concept gets clear to you. Perform any exercises in your test and lab environments only. Do not touch any production environment or production databases. We would like to know your thoughts regarding our videos, so please do share in your comments and stories. We eagerly wait for your comments and stories, so do post them. We love to read your stories as well. So yeah, that's the reason we are asking you to post in your comments. So let's move ahead now. We have created some playlists for you to watch. Some of the SQL Server playlists are SQL Server database design, tables, business continuity, indexing, performance tuning, integration services, and Transact-SQL. And if we talk about this video pertains to the SQL Server indexing category and the SQL Server database design category. And if we talk about SQL Server indexing category, we have more than 12 videos posted on under this particular playlist. And the reason we create playlists for you is because we feel that playlists are best way to learn about any particular area. For example, if you want to learn about indexing as a topic, what we would recommend is please go to the SQL Server indexing playlist and watch out all the videos from starting till the end to get better expertise in that particular area. We have more than 230 videos posted on our channel and we have a channel page link as well given at the bottom of this slide. The link for all these playlists and my channel page link are given in the video description area for this video. So please check out the video description area. Now let's come back to today's topic, which is how you can disable indexes in SQL Server. So let me directly take you to notes. So today's topic is how to disable the indexes. Now today we are discussing about how you can disable an index or constraints in SQL Server by using the SQL Server Management Studio or Transact-SQL. And basically disabling an index prevents user access to the index. So once you disable any index, user cannot access that index. And typically if we talk about the cluster indexes, if we disable the cluster indexes, we will not be able to access the underlying table data. So if a cluster index is defined on the table and we disable the cluster index, the user won't be able to access the table data as well. Now the index definition remains in the metadata. So once we disable the index definition still exists. It exists in the metadata, and index statistics as well are kept as a part of the metadata on any non-cluster indexes. All right, let's move ahead. Now disabling a cluster index on a view. So an index can be created on a view as well. So if we disable a cluster index on a particular view or a non-cluster index, if we disable a cluster index or on a view or a non-cluster index, it basically physically deletes the index data. So here we are talking particularly about the view. So if we disable a cluster index on a view, it will basically physically delete the index data. Now disabling a cluster index on a table prevents access to the data, whereas on a view, it basically physically deletes the index data. But if we disable a cluster index on the table, it basically prevents the access to the table data. The data still remains in the table, but is unavailable for data manipulation language operations until the index is dropped or rebuilt. Alright, so that's the difference. I think this statement is confusing, disabling a cluster index on a... now let's talk about some of the limitations and restrictions of this, of disabling the indexes. There are certain limitations and restrictions. So the index is not maintained while it is disabled. So if you disable any particular index, the index maintenance does not happen while it is in disabled state. Now we talk about query optimizer. The query optimizer does not consider the disabled indexes when preparing a query execution plan. So whenever a query optimizer prepares the query execution plan, and if your index is disabled on the table, it does not consider using that index. Also, queries that reference the disabled index with a table hint will fail as well. Next limitation is a disabled index can be dropped. So yeah, this index can be dropped. If you disable any particular index, it can be dropped from the table. Now, when disabling a unique index, so for example, when we create a unique index on the table and we disable that index, the primary key or unique constant and all foreign key constant that reference the index column from other tables are also disabled. So basically, if we disable any unique index, basically the primary key or unique constant, so any of the foreign keys that are referencing that primary key will also get disabled automatically. Now, when disabling a cluster index, so whenever we are disabling a cluster index, all coming and outgoing foreign key constants on the underlying table are also disabled as well. Alright, so any of the foreign key references will not get resolved if you disable the cluster index on a particular table, because data becomes inaccessible once you disable the cluster index on the table. So any of the incoming and outgoing foreign key constants on the underlying table are also disabled. Now let's talk about non-cluster indexes. Non-cluster indexes are automatically disabled when the associated cluster index is disabled. Non-cluster indexes, if they are associated with the cluster index on a table, they also get disabled. And they cannot be enabled until the cluster index on the table or view is enabled, or the cluster index on the table is dropped. Non-cluster indexes must be explicitly enabled. So by default, the non-cluster indexes automatically get disabled once you disable the cluster index on the table, and you need to enable them manually, because they automatically get disabled when you disable the cluster index. And if you want, you can enable them manually as well. So non-cluster indexes must be explicitly enabled unless the cluster index was enabled by using the alter index all rebuild statement. That statement can be used to re-enable the index. So there are two methods. Either you can manually or explicitly enable the non-cluster indexes. The other way is to enable the cluster index. Once the cluster index gets enabled, all your non-cluster index that are dependent upon the cluster index will also get enabled. Now the alter index all rebuild statement, if we talk about this statement, it rebuilds and enables all the disabled indexes on the table. So the statement is alter index all rebuild. So what this statement does is it rebuilds all the indexes and enables them as well on the table, except the disabled indexes on view. So it does not enable the disabled indexes on views, but if we talk in regards to a table, it will rebuild all the indexes and enable them on the table. But yeah, it will not enable any indexes created on the view. Now index on views must be enabled in a separate alter index all rebuild statement. So index for any particular views should be enabled manually using the alter index all rebuild statement that should be run against that view. Now disabling a cluster index on a table also disable all the clustered and non-cluster indexes on views as well. So if you disable a cluster index on a table, and if any of the views are dependent upon that table, and if those views also has indexes, maybe clustered or non-clustered, all those indexes will also get disabled on the views if you disable the cluster index on the table on which this view is based. And these indexes must be rebuilt just as those on the reference table. So indexes on the view has to be rebuilt separately, because views are separate from tables, although they reference the table, but they are separate objects other than table that have references on the table. So indexes on view must be explicitly re-enabled. Now the data rows of the disabled cluster index cannot be accessed except to drop or rebuild the cluster index. So once you disable the cluster index on a table, the data rows of the table cannot be accessed unless you drop that particular cluster index from the table. Now you can rebuild a disabled non-cluster index online when the table does not have a disabled cluster index. So if a table does not have any disabled cluster index, any of the disabled non-cluster indexes can be rebuilt in an online operation. Alright. However, you must always rebuild a disabled cluster index offline. So if we talk about the cluster index, if it is disabled, we should rebuild that index only in the offline mode. Do not use the online mode. We rebuild cluster indexes only in the offline mode. But yeah, if we talk about the non-cluster indexes, they can be rebuilt in the online mode as well. So you must always rebuild a disabled cluster index offline if you use either the alter index rebuild or create index with drop existing statement. So yeah, that should be done in the offline mode. Now the create statistic statement cannot be successfully executed on a table that has a disabled cluster index. So if a table has a disabled cluster index, we cannot execute any create statistic statement on that particular table. There's an auto create statistics option. If you don't know about statistics, you can watch out my videos on statistics that are covered under the performance tuning playlist category. So please check that out. We have a separate playlist of performance tuning that contains very good videos on certain topics, especially on statistics. So there we have covered what are auto create statistics and what are statistics in general. Now, if we talk about the auto create statistics database option, this particular option, auto create statistics, creates new statistics on a column when the index is disabled. So if this option is turned on, auto create statistics, it basically create statistics on the column when the index is disabled and the following condition exists. So statistics are recalculated when the index gets disabled if the following conditions are met. So these conditions are auto create statistics is set to on. So this option should be set to on. And there are no existing statistics for the column. There are no existing statistics for the column. That is the second criteria. And statistics are required during query optimization. And if we still need the statistics during the query optimization phase, then yeah, the auto create statistics statement will create the statistics on the column where the index is disabled. Now, if the cluster index is disabled, next point is this: if a cluster index is disabled, DBCC checkDB cannot return information about the underlying table. So we cannot run the DBCC checkDB command against the table whose cluster index is in disabled state. Instead, the statement report that the cluster index is disabled. So if we run a DBCC checkDB statement against any table on which the cluster index is disabled, what we get is we get a statement that a cluster index is disabled. It provides that information. Now, DBCC index defrag cannot be used to defragment a disabled index. So if your cluster index is disabled on a table, you cannot use the DBCC index defrag statement to defragment a disabled index. The statement fails with an error message. If you run this statement, it fails with an error message, and you can use the DBCC reindex to rebuild the disabled index. So this is another option through which you can rebuild the disabled index. In addition to alter index rebuild all statement, you can use this statement as well, DBCC reindex. We will shortly show you some of the demos on how to use these statements. Now, last point is that creating a new cluster index enables previously disabled cluster. If we create a new cluster index on a particular column, it basically enables any of the previously disabled non-cluster indexes. Now let's cover 4 demos. So first of all, we will cover the demos using the SQL Server Management Studio, where we will show you how to disable a single index using the SQL Server Management Studio. And then we will cover how to disable all indexes using the SQL Server Management Studio. Third, we will cover how to disable a single index using the Transact-SQL statement. Fourth demo will be how to disable all the indexes using the Transact-SQL statement. Let's go to the SQL Server Management Studio. So we are already connected to our default instance. We are inside the Object Explorer on the left hand side. We need to expand the databases section. So we have expanded. That contains the table on which you want to disable the index. So basically here I am telling you the procedure to basically disable the index. I am not actually disabling the index. So basically, first of all, you need to expand the databases section. And we need to select a database that contains the table on which you want to disable the index. And then we need to click on the plus sign. So let's take My Adventure Works here. Now you need to click on the plus sign to expand the table folders under that database. So let's click on the plus sign against the table folders. When you expand the table folder, it will give you the list of tables. So we can select one of the tables which has index. Now let's take human resource.employee as an example over here. Now we can, if we want to disable index, we need to expand that table, particular table on which we want to disable the index. And when we expand the table, there is an indexes folder under that. You need to expand that as well. So if we see under the indexes folder for human resources employee table, we see that there are multiple indexes created on this table. So this one is the cluster index, PK employee business entry ID. This is the cluster index, and rest of them are the non-cluster index. So there are 5 non-cluster index and 1 cluster index. If you want to disable any of the index, you need to right click on that index and it will give you the option to disable the index. So you get the option here, disable. When you click on disable, it will disable the index. Now if the table is open in design mode, the disable control is not available. So right now the table is not open in design mode. And basically in order to enable the disable mode, you need to close the table out of the design mode and start this process again. Once you click on the disable button, it will give you the dialog box. So in the disable indexes dialog box, so this is the disable indexes dialog box. You need to verify that the correct index is in the indexes grid. So here we are disabling, it is showing that we are disabling PK employee business entity ID index. We need to make sure that index name is correct. And after that, we need to click OK to disable that particular index. So right now I do not want to disable this index. So I'm clicking out cancel. Otherwise, if you click on OK, it will disable that particular cluster index. Now, let me take you to second demo. The second demo is that how you can disable all the indexes using the SQL Server Management Studio. So if we talk about this table has 6 indexes, including 1 cluster index and 5 non-cluster indexes. Now let me show you how you can disable all the indexes on a particular table. So in the Direct Explorer, rest of the items is same. Now in the index, if you want to disable all the indexes for a particular table, you need to right click on the indexes folder. And there's an option to disable all the indexes on a particular table. So basically, if you click on the disable all button, it will give you a dialog box to disable all the indexes. And in the disable indexes dialog box, verify that the correct indexes are in the indexes to disable grid. So this is the indexes to disable grid. And we need to verify that all the index names are correct, which you want to disable. And after that, you need to click on OK to disable all these indexes. And to remove an index from the indexes to disable grid. So if you don't want to disable any particular index over here, it is not giving you an option to delete here. So what you can do, for example, if you don't want to disable the index on AK employee row grid column, what you can do, you can select this particular row in a grid and click on the delete button. It will basically delete that column. So similarly, you can do for other indexes as well, which you don't want to delete, not delete, but disable. This is a disable grid. So for example, we just want to disable the index and these 4 indexes. We can select these 4 indexes and click on the OK button. If you don't want any index to be disabled, just delete the row for that particular index like this. All right, using the delete button. Now let's click on cancel. I don't want to disable any of the indexes. So, but basically we have shown you the way how you can disable all the indexes. Now let me take you again to that particular dialog box, disable all. So let's talk about this grid. So this grid gives us some data regarding the indexes. So first is the index name, which is first column is the index name column, which basically displays the name of the index. And during execution, the column also displays an icon representing the status. So this column also gives you an icon that represents the status of that particular index. Now the second column name is the table name, which displays the name of the table or view that the index was created on. So we see that all these 6 indexes are created on the employee table. Now third is the index type, which basically defines what type of index it is, whether it's clustered, non-clustered, special or XML indexes. So far we see we only have cluster and non-cluster indexes defined on this table. The next column is the status column, which basically displays the status of the disable operation, and possible values after execution of this statement is when we click on OK. So the possible values after execution is blank. So right now the values are blank. So this is prior to execution status is blank. It may show you in progress status as well, which basically means disabling of the indexes has been started but not yet complete. And we see success as well here, which basically indicates the disable operation completed successfully. We get error message as well in the status area, which indicates an error was encountered during the index disable operation and the operation did not complete successfully. And we have stopped message as well. And that message indicates the disable of the index was not completed successfully because user stopped the operation in between. And in the last, we have message column over here. In the message column basically provides the text of the error message in case error encountered in the status section. The message section basically provides the text of the error message during the disable operation. And during execution, error appears as hyperlinks. The text of the hyperlinks describe the body of the error. The message column is rarely wide enough to read the full message text. There are two ways to get the full text. Move the mouse pointer over the message cell to display the tooltip with the error text. This message column is very short and you cannot use it to properly read the message. So the one way to read the proper message is to move your mouse pointer over the message. It will show you the complete message in the tooltip with the arrow text. Another way is you get the hyperlink as an error. So you can click on that hyperlink to display the dialog box that will display the full error message. Now let me take you through the third demo. I don't want to disable any indexes here, so I'm clicking on cancel. Otherwise, if you click on OK, it will disable all your indexes. Now let me take you through the third demo, which will in which I will show you how you to disable a single index using the Transact-SQL statement. Now let me take you to SQL Server. So we are connected to the instance of the database engine. You need to click on the new query to trigger a new query. So a new query is triggered against the My AdventureWorks database. Let's use this database, My AdventureWorks. For you, it must be displaying AdventureWorks 2022 if you have installed that properly. So I'm using this database. I'm showing you code how you can disable a single index. So in this example as well, I will take the human resource dot employee table. I will disable one of its indexes. So let me expand and show you which index I'm disabling. So I'm disabling this organizational level organization node index, which is currently enabled. One way is to right click and just disable it. Other way is through the Transact-SQL statement, which I'm doing that right now. So in order to disable the index, you need to use the alter index statement. After alter index statement, you need to provide the name of the index. So let's take the name of the index as IX employee organizational level underscore organizational note. So you need to start with the alter index statement, then you need to provide the name of the index. So we have given the name of the index. You need to provide the on clause. This index is defined upon the human resources dot employee table. So we are altering index, this particular index name is given over here, and this is defined on the human resources dot employee table. And after that, you need to provide the disable option to disable this particular index. So let me go ahead and disable it. Execute the statement. It will disable the index. So it is saying that it has not found the IX employee organizational level organizational node index. So let me see if there are some spelling mistakes or something. So auto index IX underscore employee underscore organizational level, which is correct. And after that we have underscore organization node. It's not zational, but zation node. So let me correct that spelling and let's execute the statement. It is still saying that it has not found this particular index. So here it is also not organizational. So let me remove that. It's organization level and organization node. All right. Not organizational level and organizational node. All right. So I've corrected the spelling. You need to make sure that your index spellings are correct. So let me execute this statement again to disable the index. So now the index, this particular non-cluster index is disabled. This one is disabled. And if we click, right click and refresh the indexes section, this index is still available, but this is currently in disabled state. So if you right click on it, you will get the rebuild option, but you don't get the disable option because it is already disabled. All right. After you executed this command, it got disabled. Now, if you want to enable this particular index, you simply need to replace the, we will show you in our next video how you can re-enable the index, but here I'm not showing you how to re-enable the index. So let's keep it to this. We have disabled one of the indexes, which we will cover in our next video. We will cover how you can re-enable the indexes after you disable them. So for right now, we have shown you how you can disable a single index using the alter index statement. Now let me show you how you can disable all the indexes on a particular table. So in order to disable all the indexes on the human resource employee table, what you need to do is you need to use the same alter index statement, but this time you need to use all for all the indexes, and all the indexes on human resources dot employee table we want to disable. So execute this statement against the table and provide the disable keyword to disable all the indexes. So this is the statement to disable all the indexes on human resource dot employee table. And previously we have discussed about the statement to disable the single index on human resources dot employee table. All right, let me execute this statement to disable all the indexes. Let's execute this. So it has given us some warning messages, but it has disabled all the indexes on the table. Yeah, warning messages are there, but yeah, indexes are disabled now. We can check one of the indexes. Let's check the cluster index. It is currently showing as enabled, but let me refresh it. Right now, if I right click on it, we see the disable option is grayed out. So this is already disabled. All right, so please make note of the syntax to disable a single index, as well as how you can disable all the indexes on the table. So guys, we are done with the with this particular video. I hope you like the content of this video. In our next video, we will cover how you can re-enable the indexes which you have already disabled. So guys, if you really like this video, please click on the like button below this video. And guys, if you are new to this channel and if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please go ahead and do so. There's a subscribe button below this video. Click on that subscribe button. It will give you a bell icon. Click on that bell icon, select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future videos. And the reason I'm telling you to subscribe is because I don't want you to miss on any of the indexing videos that I'm creating these days. I don't want you to miss any one of them. I will be creating like 15 or 30 more videos on indexing. So keep an eye, keep subscribed so that you can get timely notification. So let me give you 5 seconds to do the subscribing thing. Please go ahead and subscribe right away. I'm waiting. So guys, I hope you must have subscribed by now. So basically, if you have subscribed, then yeah, my next request is that please do post in your comments and stories, guys. We eagerly wait for your comments and stories and would love to read them. So please do post in your comments. And also guys, if you have a good network of friends, please do share my videos with them and also ask them to subscribe to my channel if they work in SQL Server domain. Basically, if you feel that my videos or my channel can make a difference in their life, and if you want to make difference in their life using my videos, yeah, please ask them to subscribe to my channel and share my videos with them. I thank you so much for your time on this video today, guys, and you have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.